Hello everybody, I'll be talking about a slightly different topic than I normally do, and that is of Bitcoin and what Peter Thiel just said regarding Bitcoin's potential to be used as a financial weapon against the United States by China. Today I will look into these comments as well as the potential truth or problems of these claims by Thiel, so stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome back to The Contrarian. For those of you who are new here, my name is Logan. I really like to talk about overall success in the markets as well as going against the crowd most of all. So if you get to the end of this video and you want to hear more, just consider subscribing. I'll also make a disclaimer that this is not to be taken as financial advice in any way. But to get started, let's take a look into the background of Peter Thiel. And to put it short, he is very qualified within the area of cryptocurrencies, fintech, and technology in general. He was the co-founder of PayPal along with Elon Musk. After PayPal, he co-founded Palantir Technologies, which is a company which recently went public about 1.5 years ago. He's also one of the few Silicon Valley billionaires who tends to go against the grain of his cohorts, and he's often criticized other tech companies such as Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter for their reluctancy to be more transparent with regards to their involvement with other countries, namely China. And it is in this context that Thiel was asked about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies at the Nixon Seminar last week, and I'll just play a clip from that.
From China's point of view, they want to get, they don't like the U.S. having this reserve currency because it gives us, a lot of leverage over, Iranian oil supply chains and all sorts of things like that. They don't want the renminbi to become a reserve currency because then you have to open your capital account and you have to do all sorts of things that they really don't want to do. I think the euro, you could think of as, was in part a Chinese weapon against the dollar. It didn't, the last decade hasn't quite worked out that way, but that was, China would have liked to see two reserve currencies like the euro. And, even though I'm sort of a pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin maximalist person, I do wonder whether at this point Bitcoin is also should also be thought in part as a Chinese financial weapon against the U.S., where it threatens fiat money, but it especially threatens the U.S. Dollar, and China wants to do things to weaken it. So it's sort of China is long Bitcoin, and perhaps from a geopolitical perspective, the U.S. should be a little bit be asking some tougher questions about exactly how that works. But some internal stable coin in China, that's not a real cryptocurrency. That's just some sort of totalitarian measuring device.
And as can be seen from this clip, Peter himself is a strong advocate of cryptocurrencies and the technology behind Bitcoin, which is blockchain. I think it's often misunderstood when a lot of people, such as Thiel or Elon Musk or Patrick Byrne or whoever they are, when they're saying that they're supporters of Bitcoin, oftentimes they're talking about the technology behind it, not necessarily what Bitcoin itself is being used for right now. But blockchain itself is a very, very interesting, very powerful technology. I think it's often understood just within the context of Bitcoin, but blockchain is just an amazing technology that could be used for a lot of other things other than financial technology. It could be used for legal documents or so many other things. But it seems that Peter Thiel is beginning to have some real doubts and concerns about how helpful Bitcoin really is right now for reserve currencies. And on this point, he is correct in that any reserve currency is threatened by having an alternate form of exchange crop up. And it isn't just the US dollar. If the euro or any other currency were to be the reserve currency, Bitcoin would also pose the same threat to it. And that is because being a decentralized ledger as it is, a blockchain technology at least makes it possible for transactions to take place outside of the financial system or wherever the buyer or seller is regionally based. Now, as of right now, the vast majority of transactions don't utilize Bitcoin or blockchain technology in any way, and frankly, Bitcoin itself is currently more of a speculative place. It's more of an asset like a stock or other currency which isn't bought or sold in order to purchase actual goods or services, but rather it's purchased in the hope that Bitcoin continues to increase in value with respect to all of these other currencies. And so far, very little regulation has been placed on Bitcoin, and cryptocurrencies have probably been the best asset class one could have been in since their inception, going up anywhere from at 10,000% or more in their lifetimes, which is insane in the last, several years. But now the main question remaining is, do central banks allow this to continue, especially with the threat that Bitcoin poses to the US dollar as a reserve currency, or, you know, that it could pose in the future? And this is really an unanswerable question right now. We don't know what steps central banks will take or how much they will crack down on cryptocurrencies, but for me personally, this alone is enough for me to avoid them entirely, just for the time being, as well as just all of the speculation involved with it. Whenever you have a large group of people chasing after something, it's just a very risky place, in my opinion, to be. That's obviously just my opinion. Don't take any of this as advice, but just in that, when I hear Bitcoin bulls talking about, nobody can stop Bitcoin, or whenever they say that, or whatever altcoin they're talking about, whether it's Ethereum or whatever, the plain truth is that the majority of the developed world does have governments that are capable of shutting down these cryptocurrencies, whether that be the exchanges and shutting them down, or then that just makes it impossible to buy or sell your cryptocurrencies, and they effectively lose their value. So there's just so many different ways that a technology like Bitcoin, however well intentioned it may have been, could be shut down relatively easily by governments. So personally, I don't have an opinion on Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I find that both camps of people who really like gold and who really like Bitcoin have most of their arguments in common, and only time will tell which side is correct. Also, everyone has different perspectives and knowledge of risk taking that they want to take. But cryptocurrencies are just way too risky for me, and for the reason of government intervention and speculation. And this is a valid point that Peter Thiel brings up, in that it could be possible that Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies are being pushed as a way to undermine the US dollar. As to whether that is true or not, we really don't know right now, but that is just an interesting point to bring up. So if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why down in the comments, and I hope to see you again.